Hey, Brett here. This is a slightly modified version of Science of Stretching for Tai Chi and Bagua. This is going to be a comprehensive top to bottom body stretch that if you practice over a few times and you're practicing something like Tai Chi, Leho Bafa, Bagua, other internal martial arts, you'll notice that it really is going to help you practice quite a bit. I do those practices, undo this practice, so it's personal experience suggests this works. We're going to go through a couple of minor changes, and I'm going to change up the times, but otherwise it's going to be the standard class. I'm going to shoot for an hour, but I'm going to guess based on some of the changes, it's going to be more like an hour and 15 minutes. And so for today, you might want various pillows of various thicknesses, mostly for padding, also for getting yourself balanced. You might want something like a little bench and something sticky, and then also a wall. For the wall, we're going to both put our back on it, so you might want a thin pillow, and we're going to use our hands on it. So I'll talk more about that later on. But since I'm guessing you're watching this as a video, I'm going to suggest you spit on your hands later, so maybe brush your teeth as well. Okay, so let's get going. And I'm checking the time. Good. Welcome to Science Stretching for Tai Chi and Bagua. Go ahead and get in a nice place where you can just stand, feet parallel, knees bent, and just start bouncing in place. Shake. We're going to do this for a little bit. While we're doing this, try to sense where, and when you inhale, you feel it in your body. And see if while you're doing this, you can relax the upper part of your body so that the lower part of your body can feel like it's taking in the air. The deeper you get your breath, the more oxygenated you're going to get your blood. Because due to gravity, there's more blood in the bottom of your lungs, and by going deeper into your belly when you inhale, you're going to get more oxygen into your body. It's physics. And this practice right here, we're stimulating our lymphatic system. So, in fact, so I had a really bad cat bite 4 nights ago. And I mean, it hurts, but it's repairing. I'm surprisingly fast. And I've been making a point the night that happens, I did the shake, and I've been consistently shaking each night. So I've been stimulating my immune system. Another trick is you can tap your breastbone a little bit, actually more like your xiphoid process. All right, let's stop shaking. Now let's work on sung. Sung is dynamic relaxation. What we're going to do is we're going to continue with the way we were standing, but we're going to add a few things to it. Now, if you're coming at this from, say, a yoga perspective, we're going to be engaging our pelvic floor. Feet parallel, knees slightly bent. Now, I'm going to take my sacrum, I'm going to basically push it down. What I'm really trying to do is, generally speaking, my pelvis is tilting, and I want to untilt it. I want to get my pelvis as flat as possible. And we'll be doing a stretch later. If you're tight in your hip flexors from sitting all day long, we'll be taking care of that. There's a specific stretch for right there. Now, imagine your fontanelle is sort of in the back of your head. So if you take the tips of your ears and you find the top center, you pull up your neck and extend your spine. And I'm going to, since I'm standing sideways, watch this. Now I'm going to relax, and I'm not really shifting my weight. I'm just going to extend my spine. And notice my center of gravity changes because I've changed the shape of my body. It's a natural response to physics. So knees bent, feet parallel. When I push this down and I pull my pelvis sort of up like so, I'm engaging the ligaments. So now I'm rooting in the floor. Now, the relaxation part. Once I've extended my head up, take your hands and medially rotate into the middle. I'm going to do it like this, like I'm pushing down. Now, what is that doing? I've engaged the ligaments out here, so this is strong from a blocking perspective, but that means this is loose and weak, which means my chest is loose, which allows me to take and push my chest down, which brings my pelvis, my spinal column which has just been extended from the fontanelle going up into my pelvic floor. And then once I've got that engaged, a sensation throughout this is you'll feel pressure in your heels increasing first when your sacrum goes down, and then when you bring your pelvis, sorry, I keep saying pelvis, your spinal column into your pelvis. And then we'll let go of all the tension, but just hold the position, and then just sort of relax and let your belly expand. Okay. Now we're going to do some movement, straight up qigong, so energy work. We're going to synchronize our movement with our breath. So again, feet hip width, maybe a little bit wider. It's fine. Not essential here, but not too wide, not too narrow. Knees bent. Let me show you the pattern real quick. We're going to inhale up, exhale down, inhale down, exhale up. All right, that's so let's start with that first. So we're going to also try to get to the point where we're doing about 5 breaths a minute. All right, and that's actually important for physiological reasons that I won't bore you with. Okay, so now inhale, out going up. And then exhale down to your waist. Reach out, inhaled, and come down as far as you can safely come. The water that you're digging into right here, or the earth, is right where your hands are. So don't worry about how far you go down. And then exhale and push with your feet up into your waist. Now, let's do that one more time, but this time visualize as you inhale, you're taking in energy from all around you, and visualize forming a tighter and tighter sphere of bright, bright light as you inhale. As you exhale, bring that sphere down into your skull and imagine your skull radiating with healing white energy. Your cheekbones, your chin, your throat, your collarbone, your shoulders, your arms, your chest, all the way down. And imagine it continuing on to the ground and forming white roots into the ground. Inhale on your way down. And imagine you're grabbing a huge ball of green energy from the earth and pull that green energy up. And see that green energy coming up through the arch of your foot, into your shins, your calves, your pelvis. Keep going up and up. And then it comes out of your head, forming the leaves of a willow tree that come back down to the earth. Okay, let's do that one more time. Inhale up, grab some energy, bright, and as you exhale, bring it down and imagine your entire skeletal structure getting bright as you bring this healing energy into your bones. And then inhale again, reach into the earth, grab green energy and bring it up through the arches of your feet and have it come up. And ultimately, you've got green roots turning into leaves coming out of your head. All right. Now, let's practice relaxing. What I want you to do is just allow your arms to relax, doing nothing. In fact, I'll come a little bit closer here. So you're going to miss my hands, but that's fine. And I really want you to sort of just allow your arms to just do whatever they do. So I just moved them. Don't move them. Let them just hang and then turn side to side. You might want to go a little bit wider with your feet. Bend your knees so that you protect them. You don't want to twist your knees. And then just turn at your hip. So I'm gonna push with my right foot. I'm gonna push then in my right hip, and it's gonna go counterclockwise or to my left. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Now, we're practicing relaxation here in these poses. That's essential. Relaxation is the opposite of strength. And I mean that in an actual literal sense. Sarcomeres, the muscle fibers, are either engaged and strengthening or relaxed. You can get a little bit of additional strength, relax, sorry, a little bit of flexibility with strength involved, but it's quite a bit easier to not do that. So we're going to sometimes use props so we can get balance. So we let gravity do the work. So with that in mind, what I want to do before we do that, the theme for my week has been neck adjacent. And so I'm going to go through 5 isometric holds, 30 seconds each approximately. I'm going to count it in my head. And we're just going to work on strength around the neck, because if you have neck damage or neck issues, if you just simply do this and your neck is tight, when you hold a muscle, it might relax a little bit. So if you do this over time, you might slowly turn down your resting tension. Also, if you have neck issues, strength is good. So we're going to build in 5 directions. And so let's go right side, put your hand on your right side and simply push in and just notice where you feel it on the left side. And here we go. And relax. Now, on this next one, you might try that engaging of the hips down. So feet parallel, knees bent. Push your sacrum down and push in. So try to do that. And actually, on all these poses, if you do that and then push your fontanelle up as you push in, you're going to do a huge amount of additional engagement across your body, depending on how flexible you are. So over time, as you stretch your body, you'll get the entire body engaged. So what you're doing is a much more integrated body work. It's really quite good to have the whole system working together. It's going to help your neck even more. So I'll shut up. Let's do some isometrics. And left side again. Try to push your sacrum down to flatten your pelvis, and push your fontanelle up, and then push into your hands for 30 seconds and go. And let go. Now, for these next, everything I said and add on, trying to drizzle your shoulders, relax your shoulders. So as your head is going up, your shoulders are going down. And what you're doing is you're extending your thoracic spine. And also you're getting your traps sort of a little bit stretched in there as well. So it's a really nice addition. And again, you can do all of that on all these poses, but I don't want to do that on the first pose and overwhelm you. So now for these front and back, use 2 hands. You don't want to do one hand like we did right and left. Now, right and left, we did asymmetrically, but we did the same thing on both sides, so it's symmetrical overall. If you do this all the time, you're going to get stronger on this side. So we want both hands. And again, I'm going to talk you through this, then we're going to hold it for 30 seconds. We'll do the front first. So feet parallel, knees bent, about hip width apart. I'm a little bit wider, that's fine. Sacrum down, flattening out your pelvis a little bit. Push your fontanelle up, put your hands into your forehead, and here we go. Remember to drop those shoulders. It really increases the hold overall. And relax. Whew. Now, if you want to work on your lower bandhas, you yoga folk, also a nice thing to add into there. Mixing Tai Chi and yoga and some basic isometrics is really a great combination. Now, backside, same thing. So I'll talk through all those things you might consider. Feet parallel, hip width apart, knees bent, sacrum down, flattens the pelvis, push the fontanelle up, hands together behind your head. Now, before we start, try to relax your shoulders down as you push your fontanelle up. That brings your chin back, and then push your head into your hands and vice versa. And here we go. and relax slowly. Whew. Now, if you can't stand to on doing these, sitting is fine. And I just recently did one of these sitting. And if you try to push your sacrum down and push your spine up when sitting, do that. Just do that. You can do that when you're sitting in a chair. It's a great way to sort of stretch your spine in place. So sitting, you can still get a really good stretch on these. But I'm going to go ahead and do these standing because you do get a slightly more fully integrated body. Because if you have your hips and all down here engaged while you're engaging up here, you're getting your whole body connected. And there are times when I can feel connection from here down to my foot. And in fact, I've got a video showing you how you can do it. Anyway, now, last one. This time it's important to, on the part where we extend our spine, the second bow in Tai Chi, I want the sacrum tucked, pushed down. That brings your front up a little bit. Again, flattens the pelvis. Push the fontanelle up, because you're going to be pushing up against both your hands. Again, both hands, not just one. So drop your shoulders as you're pushing your head up. Here we go. And 30 seconds. And relax. Oh, if someone were looking at you, it doesn't look like you're doing anything, but there's a whole lot of internal stuff going on. All right, now let's do one more shake, and then we're going to go ahead and get into stretching. So feet parallel. Now on the shake, if you engage your first bow, so again, engage the first bow, feet parallel, knees bent, sacrum pushing down so it brings your pelvis up. And now do that as you shake. Again, noodly arms. Notice my arms are just relaxed. When you shake, you're actually stimulating your lymphatic system. So uh, injury related stuff gets moved through your system. So when you have injuries, gentle shaking is a really good way to help your body clean out the scar tissue that it uses to heal the body. So shaking good. Okay. Now, the general theme for tonight is going to be bottom up, because in Tai Chi, we start bottom up from the feet. One exception, this first one, because we're already standing, so we're going to do a forward fold. What I want you to do is, this is where one place where you might use a bench, optional, not necessary at all. But in fact, this is a great counter to pushing on your head, because now we're going to relax our spine. So it works out pretty well. So what you want to do, the important thing is knees, again, the feet are generally parallel. In this case, knees really, 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 really bent. Right now, I want you to worry more about extending the spine. So this is a very good way to do that. But if you can lower your hands, interlace, whatever, what I want you to primarily focus on is trying to allow your spine to release. And here we go. Now, while we're here, a couple things. We've already talked a little bit about breathing. But if we breathe 5 breaths a minute, like in for a count of 4 and out for a count of 8, you will slowly lower your heart rate. You will tend to downregulate your sympathetic system and upregulate your parasympathetic system. I can't blame that on being upside down. So let's do a couple breaths. Inhale to count of 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale to a count of 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and one more. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 1. Keep doing that at your own pace. Really expand your belly when you inhale. It has the added bonuses of stimulating your vagus nerve, helping you calm down and relax in discomfort. It also often, and this is a good pose, gently moves your body, and so you get slightly better coverage of the muscles that you're relaxing. Gentle movements allow you to get more of the muscle, but gentle millimeters, very small movements. You might start to shake. That's great. You keep doing this pose, those shakes go away because those muscles that are shaking, those small muscles, are going to get better. So you're not going to get a lot of muscle mass, but you're going to build muscle doing these poses, even though we're stretching. There's a lot of health benefits going on. But we have to spend time, 2 to 5 minutes. I'll say more about that later. But try to relax. Try to relax. Okay, now to come out of this, first put your hands on the floor. Bend your knees if they're not too bent deeply. Bring one hand, keep one hand on the floor, bring your left hand on just above your left knee. Now push with your left hand, put your right hand and push up, 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 up. Now, you might not have done that. That might feel a bit dramatic, but you don't want to use the muscles you've just stretched. That's going to be a recurring theme throughout today. I'm old enough that if I use those muscles after deeply stretching them, I can hurt myself. You may not have that problem, but I'm going to assume that y'all have that problem since I do. All right. Now, go ahead and come on down onto the floor. And what I want you to do, there's 2 parts to this. There's an essential part. Well, they're both essential, but for different reasons. From a balance perspective, what I want you to do is I want you to have your toes curled under. And if you cannot have your bum on your heels, use some kind of pillow because I want you to have your toes curled under and I want you to have pressure on them like that. I want that. Now, you don't have to put a lot of pressure, but I want you stretching your toes, which will also stretch the balls of your feet. And this is going to give you better balance because you can grip with your feet better. So I'm going to go ahead and start a timer. Now, that's part 1 of the pose. The other part is do something with your arms. Like you might put them simply behind your back. You might do some kind of prayer pose behind your back. So again, toes curled under. This is a really good thing for your balance, the feet part. Also, we are stretching our ankles all the way in one direction. This is called dorsiflexion. And this is really handy if you want to be able to do a squat. So if you have tight ankles, and you probably have tight ankles if you wear any kind of elevated foot. Most shoes have an elevation in the heel. Doesn't seem like much, but after 15, 20 years, your muscles have shortened a few millimeters. So this pose initially is going to be really painful. But over time, your toes get looser and looser, your feet get looser and looser, and you can go to where you can wear maybe no lift shoes. Now, I have to separate my feet a little bit because my toes are hitting and they're touching hard enough that that would be a hot spot. And if I let that go on for very long, I could get a bruise. So you got to pay attention to your body. And if you have any like points of pain, like if I can point to a place, I want to make an adjustment or pull out. If it's pressure, if it's over an area, monitor it. If you start getting sort of sparkly feelings, if they're not too severe, monitor it. But you got to monitor your body. And guess what? The more you do that, the more you pay attention to your body, the better this is at neurogenetics. So you're actually going to regenerate your brain doing that. Neuroplasticity is increased by paying attention to your body. you're working on something called interoception. Proprioception is what I'm feeling between my toes and the floor. And interoception is, say, sensing my heartbeat, sensing, say, when I'm breathing, when I'm shaking, am I breathing in my chest? Am I breathing in my solar plexus? Am I breathing in my belly? It's getting a sense of internal things. And this practice, as you pay attention to your body more, does that. And also by stretching your body and lowering your overall general sense of tension. When you have tension, you'll notice it more. So over time, your awareness of your body gets better because everything's been turned down a little bit so that you can sense things more. It really does work, but it's a slow process. This isn't an event. This is something you do as a practice. Now, to come out of this, if your toes are really stretched like mine are, I'm going to lean forward, but I'm going to keep my toes curled. And then I'm going to start to slowly take pressure off the toes. Just going to lift my feet. Now, it turns out I want you to point your toes and sit back on the heels again. Again, same thing. If you can sit on your heels, that's great. If you can't, use a pillow. But I'm going to sit on my heels. We're going to stay here for a bit. And I'm actually extending some of these poses because, I feel like doing a longer class. And also, it's not really a class because no one's here. So I'm going to separate my feet as well. If you can separate your feet, that's fine. This is more about stretching the front. All right. So this is really about stretching the front of your body so that maybe later on you can do something with your back. Because if your front is tight, it makes it hard to do back bends. And if your front is tight, which if you sit all day, your front is tight, then what's going to happen is when you stand, the front of your body is going to be shorter because you've been sitting, and it's going to pull on your back and ultimately give you lower back pain. So by stretching, you're going to probably, my personal experience is I went from constant daily back pain that I could heal with rollers, but it'd come back the next day to I don't have back pain unless I've done something. If you are to the point where your bum is on the ground and you want to lean back a little bit, that's fine. Absolutely not necessary. What we're doing here, the primary point of this one for our purpose for Tai Chi and Bagua is the ankle. We're taking our ankle through a full range of motion so that your ankles get stronger, more flexible. You can grip with your toes. It's going to help your balance. Genuinely, it helps your balance. If you keep practicing that sacrum tuck, if you grab with your toes and tuck your sacrum into your feet, you're going to find that you can stand with one foot off the ground much easier. Takes time, but it does come with time. Hello, Chesh. I'm really close to the camera, aren't I? Now, don't go back if your bum's not on the ground. I'm not going to go any further down than this, but I'm getting a big stretch. I'm hyper extending my ankles here, as well as getting a really nice stretch on my thighs. Maybe I will go down just for a second. My head's off the screen. That's great. Yeah, to come out of this, you probably want to just push up a little bit, get your bum off the ground, get the pressure off your ankles until you right there, I feel blood flow back to my knees. Wait a few moments. Then I'm going to hand in a tabletop and I'm going to point one foot out at a time. Just point left foot out and then maybe the right foot. This is just getting your knees back to fully extended like that. So, okay, now it turns out we're going to be in a tabletop. I'm going to turn around and face you. For this next pose, starting in a tabletop, this is a big hip opener. Hips are important because you transfer your weight, your power from your foot to your hand through your hips. And to do that, you need to have flexible hips. So, tabletop. We're going to do this one. There we go. What I want you to do is I want you to swing your right foot up to your right hand. And it can certainly be in front of the right hand, but I want this leg up and down or even a little bit forward. Rotate the foot out 45 degrees, up to 45 degrees. This leg can fall out. Now I want you to slide that left leg back. I want you to point your foot, and here we go. If you have trouble holding this, the pose is in the legs. Use some kind of support. Use a pillow, whatever. Totally fine. Because I want you to feel a stretch here and here. All right. So, as long as you're feeling a stretch, I don't care what props you use. And in fact, the more props you use so that you don't have to do the work, the smarter you're being. This is all about relaxing with tension over time. Passive tension, time, 2 to 5 minutes. 2 to 5 minutes because the 2 minutes allows your nervous system to calm down enough so that your reflex system turns down enough, so that your sarcomeres relax enough, so that you have persistent change. After 5 minutes, law of diminishing returns most of the time. This is an example of a pose you could do for more than 5 minutes because the hips, there's a lot going on in the hips. There's lots of layers of muscles. There's all kinds of ligaments and tendons. So it's one place where you might work a little bit longer. Remember to go back to breathing to relax and extending your belly. And now, if you can't relax your body, maybe you can lock out your arm and use just your peace fingers, pointer, middle, just those two fingers. It's anatomically safer to just use those two fingers to hold yourself up and support yourself. Now, throughout the pose, I'm going to keep adjusting myself. I'm going to push my foot a little further back, and I'm going to go a little bit lower, maybe, or maybe I'll even go a little bit more erect so that my torso's giving me weight in a different place. Right here, though, right now, I'm getting a really nice stretch. My hip flexor on my left is getting a nice stretch. My hamstrings are getting a nice stretch on my right leg. And also, I'm pulling my hips, I'm pulling my right hip to the upper right and my left hip to the lower left. And so I'm pulling my hips diagonally. And I'll do the same thing in the other direction when we do the other side. So this is hitting your hips 3 different ways. It's really good. If you can only do one pose, this is one pose I would say do like every day. Don't just do one pose, but if you could only do one pose. Okay, now to come out of this, push up a little bit, maybe curl your left toes under. And what I want you to do is bring your right leg back. So get back into a tabletop and then push back a little bit. Child's pose, if you know that name. If you don't, just push back into your legs, and don't worry how far back you go. We're just going to kind of relax here for just a second. Okay, and then come on back up to a tabletop. Here we go, round 2. Left foot up to left hand. I want you to maybe scoot your left foot even a little bit forward. Take your left foot 45 degrees out, external, lateral rotation. Take and point your right foot and slide your right foot back, 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 back. So you got a big stretch in your left hamstring and your right hip flexor. You might have other places going on. You might also notice this in your abductors, your AB abductors. That is the outside of your, maybe your glutes, right back here. I'm getting a little bit of that going on. We're going to hit those hard later, but we're getting a little bit of precursor. Okay, again, come out of this, push back just a little bit, maybe curl your left or right toes under, get back into approximate tabletop, and then push back down into child. Forehead of the ground just for a second. Okay, you're gonna want pillows for this next pose. Okay, this next pose, careful. We're going to do something where if you take your legs too wide, it's good for your groin, but it's bad for your knees. This is going to be more of a hip flexor. We're going to hammer the hip flexors. So I'm going to show you what this looks like standing, and then I'm going to do the actual pose. What we're doing, we're going to basically have our legs wide, our feet turned out, and then we're sitting down and hitting the hip flexors. Now, this is great, but I can't hold it. So we're going to just change our relationship to gravity. And again, if you're feeling any kind of weird tension or torquing in your knees, back off. Do not mess with your knees. Don't mess with your joints. I do not try to do anything with my joints other than avoid them. They come along for the ride. So my legs are spread, my feet are turned out, and I can show this again here. This is something that it looks like. And then I'm just going to basically slowly sit into my hip flexors, and I'm getting a nice stretch right there. So that's pretty much it. Don't need to go too wide. In fact, the wider you go, well, anyway, just you find a place that works for you where you're not feeling a lot of pressure in your knees. Now, if you can't do that, then don't do this pose. Okay. I don't have an alternative at the moment. I am giving a very, very gentle push with my forearms, just a little bit to keep just a subtle amount of pressure on my hip flexors so they have a reason to need to relax and let go. Play around with subtle adjustments like where your torso is. Really try to relax and allow gravity to pull your hip flexors a little bit and get them to relax a little bit more. Okay, now come out of this really, really slowly. Oh, in fact, I'm going to come out of this really slowly. I'm going to come up a little bit and then forward. And slowly scoot your legs in one at a time. Maybe lift with your one hand and slide the knee in, and then the other one. There we go. Okay, now I want you to get into a sitting position, and you might want a small pillow to elevate your bum so that we can have gravity help. I'm going to use this pillow right here. This one's a little bit big, but it's okay for me. Your results, preferences may vary. Okay, we're going to open up our groin. This pose we're going to do, I do this typically almost every night before, or actually, I go to bed. I put my feet together while I'm lying in bed, and I just let them sit out like this. This is a great pose to open up your groin, and that's what we're going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5. I got my feet pretty far because I want to be able to fall forward, and that's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and fall forward. Now, if you're noticing tension in your lower back, use a brick or something, or just hold, maybe do something like this. Put a little pressure on your forehead, and that becomes a bit of a lever point, and it helps relieve tension on your lower back sometimes. It's a nice little trick you can do on any pose where you're maybe doing something like this with your torso. In addition to your groin, at some point you might feel something again on the outside, maybe right about back here somewhere. Your abductors, AB abductors. But right now we're stretching our our adductors, the muscles that allow our legs to come into the middle, add to the middle, adductors. Where are you breathing? Are you breathing deep into your belly? Are you exhaling longer than are you inhaling? Another trick on this one, if you're having trouble with your back, is don't look at your feet, look at the wall. All right, now to come out of this, put your hands on your feet and push up, push up. Do not use your back. Really don't use your back to get out of this. Now, once you're back to sort of your torso is up and down, generally it's fine. But just in case, take your hands, put them behind your back, point your fingers away from you, and then just sort of arch your shoulders a little bit, maybe. Push your shoulders forward, your chest. And now go ahead and relax, relax, relax. Okay, now we're going to need the wall. I've been doing these poses a little longer. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish them all before I need to go to bed, but that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to start with my back against the wall. My feet are bent. Now I want my feet to not slide. This is important because we're basically going to take one foot. In this case, I'm going to start with my right foot and put it above my left knee, not on my left knee, but above, so that I get a nice little twist on my leg there. And it's really going to hammer the adductors. Abductors. Sorry. Maybe the adductors as well, but the abductors. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Heck, I'm going to do it this long. Oof. There we go. Now, on this pose, gentle side to side movements, you'll find hit different parts of the muscle. And so that's okay. Just do very gentle side to side movements. And also, after you've been in the pose so long, periodically, maybe you go a little bit deeper, pull your foot back a little bit, swiggle it back. And this is one of those poses that's a bit weird. About the 4 minute mark for me, when you come out of the pose, you have it's like your legs turned off. It's not numb. It's not sore. It's just like it's just kind of like offline for a second. Shake it, it'll come right back. But it's a cool feeling. And that's what you've done is you've successfully calmed your nervous system down to the point where it's like, oh, this is normal. This discomfort and distress is normal. I'll just turn off for a while. And that's why we don't do anything strenuous after these poses. So this is the last thing you do. Don't go jogging after you stretch like this. Deep flexibility is great for after, not before. It's dangerous for before. Now, this pose, if you're in a sitting position, we'd call it half pigeon. I also do this pose sitting when I'm watching TV quite a bit. I'll do it for 5 minutes on the side. But I find that this version against the wall is really great at targeting the hip flexor because I don't have to do anything. My foot not sliding is doing all the work. I'm not holding anything at all. Now it is a little hard because all the pressure's on the foot. To go deeper, but yikes, you can go deeper. Yeah, deeper. So it's a really intense pose, but I don't have to do anything to hold it. Be careful on the intensity though, because if you go too tense, your body will tense up and you'll be fighting yourself. Hello, come here. No? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna hold on to my foot, lower it to the ground, and extend my leg just a second and twist my leg side to side. There we go. That's good. Now, same thing, other side. This side's a little bit tighter. It doesn't end tighter, it starts tighter, so I'm going to have my foot a little bit forward. Then I'll pull it back more. And here we go. Left foot above right knee. Oh, that was a bit much. Yeah, I think I can hold that. When I teach live, I don't tend to do the poses quite as deeply because I tend to go into them and then I come out of them, I walk around. But when I'm doing them at home, woohoo. Also, I should have a pillow on my back, but it'll be okay. Do these poses 3 times, and I'll bet you it'll be easier to get out of your car. This is for me because I have to do a little bit of hip work to get out of the car because of where I have to park it. And so I'm able to twist on my hip in a way that I wasn't, say, a couple years ago. Made it quite a bit easier to get in and out of my car. Lots of unexpected benefits from deep flexibility. Yeah, what up? Come here. What's up? You don't want to be on the camera? Cool. Okay, and I'm going to stop there because I need to go to bed. I do like stretches, but again, in terms of health, fitness, and all that kind of stuff, psychological health, sleep, nutrition, exercise. Now, this exercise counts as psychological health to me. It's actually done meditatively. You're spending a lot of time focusing inward as you control your breathing. So it's all energy work, it's all qigong, it's all relaxing. So it's definitely helping the psychological part. And frankly, it kind of helps nutrition because when you activate your rest and digest as opposed to in fight and flight, you are going to absorb nutrients better. So this is practice that covers a lot of bases. Have a good night. Tomorrow morning, Tai Chi class that I go to.